This page is the front cover, isn't it? N64 Pro Issue 3 from January 98, costing a cool £2.95 back then. Proper mad for N64, the headline screams. And who wasn't at the time, eh? The star of the show on the cover looks to be San Francisco Rush, with that bright yellow car promising earthquaking racing, a perfect description of hooning around those steep San Fran hills. Inside, they're packing in loads. You've got glimpses of the absolute essentials, like Zelda 64, before we all knew it as Ocarina of Time, and the chowtic fun of Diddy Kong racing. Duke Nukem 64 is there, looking suitably macho. They're teasing Holy Magic Century, claiming it's already a competitor for Zelda 64, which is a bold statement indeed. Also featured are the quirky Chameleon Twist and Mace, one of the better fighting games on the system getting its first review. And naturally, Part 2 of the definitive guide to the legendary GoldenEye 007 is inside. Plus, a free tips book and chat about UK Mario Kart Championships and NFL Quarterback Club. Looks like a solid issue packed with the good stuff. This N64 Pro magazine preview boasts a split-page layout. The left side heavily promotes Diddy Kong racing, highlighting its diverse environments: land, sea, air, and features like 4 players, 8 characters, and Rumble Pack support. The right side introduces the magazine's team, showcasing each member's unique watch and personality traits, creating a quirky tone. The issue, number 4, was released January 13, 1998. This page is the contents page for N64 Pro Issue 3, January 1998, laying out exactly what's packed inside. We've got the usual suspects: news and reader feedback in the regulars section, previews of upcoming titles like Automobili Lamborghini and a snowboarding special covering 4 games, and the essential codes, tips and guides, featuring more GoldenEye 007 action and general hints. The review section is absolutely stacked this month, with a big review for Diddy Kong Racing, which we heard a bit about on the last page, plus looks at Chameleon Twist, Madden 98, Mischief Makers, San Francisco Rush, NFL Quarterback Club, Mace, Doom, Hexen, Duke Nukem, and Top Gear Rally. Blimey, that's a lot to get through. There's even a 3D shoot-'em-up special covering Doom, Hexen and Duke Nukem all together. Features this issue include a look at the Mario Kart UK Championship, a feature called Last Man Stands, apparently 18 plus only, intrigued, survey results, and a peripherals review. They're also flagging up a free tips book, and weirdly, a character from Final Fantasy V2 has managed to sneak onto the page for some reason. Looks like another solid issue, covering all the essential N64 happenings. Fox Interactive, known for quality games, has licensed N64 game publishing. Squaresoft's Seattle studio, Crave Entertainment, is creating N64 RPGs, including characters from Final Fantasy V2. Zelda 64 and Yoshi's Story release dates in Japan are delayed. N64 pricing and availability are discussed in relation to PlayStation, with Diddy Kong Racing contributing to the console's sales. The Madden/NFL Quarterback Club sports game rivalry is mentioned, along with a surge of Japanese N64 titles showcased at Space World. Space World reveals a plethora of upcoming N64 games, including Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda, Super Tennis 64, and UEFA Soccer 64. UEFA Soccer 64, touted as a genre-defining title by Ocean Software, promises many teams, stadiums, and advanced AI. Super Tennis 64, developed by Hudson, is slated for release next year and features unique playing environments. The article also covers movie tie-ins for Alien, Resurrection, and previews us N64 releases, which are gaining momentum with potential titles like Battle Arena Toshinden and a racing/fighter game from Takara. The magazine covers new 64 games like Wrecking Balls, Buck Bumble, and Quake 64, along with a look at Tonic Trouble and Bomberman 64. A political hot potato article discusses copy devices. A safety warning about a faulty power adapter is included, with potential game deals for affected owners. G.ASP, a fighting game, and improved N64 resolution in games like FIFA and NFL Quarterback Club are also highlighted. Finally, the article includes a chart of popular games in the UK and among N64 Pro readers, with Zelda, Ocarina of Time topping the list. This page kicks off with a look ahead, showing us the worldwide release schedule for the N64. It's split into 1997 and 1998, listing a shed-load of upcoming games with their publishers and rough release dates or quarters. It gives us a glimpse of what's coming, from games with specific dates like Bomberman 64 and Yoshi's Story, to those planned for later quarters in '98, even listing some juicy rumors at the bottom. It's the kind of list that had us buzzing back in the day, planning our next must-have purchases. On the right, we've got a massive, eye-catching advert for Extreme G. You see this bloke's face, all stretched out, looking like he's experiencing some serious gene force, with the text, "Acceleration so fast it hurts. So why do it? Extreme G." It's a bold statement. Below there's text bragging about the game, calling it the fastest on Earth, according to Nintendo magazine. Acclaim's logo is there too, telling us to take it to the extreme. Clearly they were trying to convey pure, unadulterated speed with this one, and fair play, Extreme G really delivered on that front. This page dives into the retail trenches, with N64 Pro talking to the folks on the shop floor to see what's what. They polled staff from Game, Electronics Boutique, Virgin, and Toys Hurries to get the lowdown. The big news everyone's buzzing about is the N64 price drop to £99.99 apparently. It's sending them flying out the door, even getting footy players like Danny Cadamarteri splashing out hundreds on consoles and games like ISS 64 and Mario 64. Everyone agrees. Sales have picked up significantly since the drop, finally sorting out the stock issues. When it comes to games flying off the shelf, Lilac Wars, Mario 64, and Mario Kart are doing well, helped by the new standard game price of £49.99. Gia. But the game everyone's really asking for, overwhelmingly, it's GoldenEye 007. Staff are weary of being asked, but it's clearly the most anticipated title. Extreme G and Diddy Kong Racing get mentions too, but GoldenEye is the one on everyone's personal shopping list, and the prediction for the Christmas #1. There's a little table showing price variations for a few games across different shops, but honestly everyone's just waiting for GoldenEye, import or not. Looks like the shops were finally seeing the N64 take off, just in time for Christmas. This page kicks off the review section proper, letting everyone know just how important it is, regardless of what some Muppets might tell ya. They're laying out exactly how they do things, which is fair enough. First up, they explain their scoring system, which uses percentages. Basically, anything over 89% is a must-buy gem, 8,089% is darn good, but maybe check it fits your taste. 7,079% is decent, but maybe not a world beater. 5,069% is reserved for average fodder that might have flaws, and below 50% is best avoided unless it's in the bargain bin. They even admit some might just have lost their way in development, bless 'em. They also mention they include reader reviews, which is a nice touch. 1,000 in the first game getting the full treatment is Wave Race 64. They reckon it looks good enough to drink, which is high praise for the water effects. It scored a solid 90% overall, getting 8s for graphics, sound and lifespan, and a 9 for gameplay. A cracking start to the reviews section then. Over on the right there's a rather shouty advert for NFL Quarterback Club 98. It's all about being a full impact sport, with no room for losers, and the charming suggestion to crush, or be crushed. Apparently it's the most impressive game ever, with all the teams and players according to Acclaim. Sounds intense, even for an American football game. This page plunges us straight into the review of Diddy Kong Racing from Rare, and let me tell ya, they are raving about it. The big headline screams that Rare's cheeky monkey takes on Mario Kart head-on and wins. High praise indeed, especially after just seeing how much they liked Wave Race. The reviewer starts by saying they thought GoldenEye was the N64 game of the year, but DKR's come along and nicked its crown, claiming it takes everything good from Mario Kart 64 and makes it better. Blimey, Tully. They touch on the tech, called RDA, which apparently makes everything look superb without any fogging, unlike, well, you know. The core of the game seems to be this adventure mode, which sounds a bit like Super Mario 64's hub world, letting you access different areas and races with various vehicles, car, hovercraft, and plane. There are challenge tracks, boss races, including that rather imposing dragon, and even silver coin challenges to unlock more. They also show off some of the characters you can race as or against, like Crunch the Crocodile, Pipsy the Mouse, Timber the Tiger, and even Banjo the Bear before his own game. Plus, they hint at secret characters like Drumstick the Rooster. There's a handy little diagram of the N64 controller showing you which buttons do what for racing. Pretty standard stuff, but useful. Overall, the page paints a picture of a cracking racer that's more than just laps around a track. This page continues the deep dive into Rare's surprisingly brilliant Diddy Kong Racing. Wait, it says Biddy. Typo, Diddy Kong Racing of course. Dominating the center is a cracking shot of Diddy himself, alongside the massive 96% score and stamp of approval. The review delves into the meat of the game, detailing the tough coin and trophy challenges within the adventure mode we heard about earlier. Apparently you need to sweat blood and tears for the silver coin races to unlock more content. Sounds like a proper challenge, doesn't it? They also confirm the multiplayer supports a full 4 players, which is brilliant news, unlike some races that only managed 2 back in the day. The tracks are lauded for being immaculately designed with clever shortcuts, and collecting bananas boosts your speed. A nice touch. Time trial mode gets a shout out too, described as absolutely superb for shaving off precious seconds. Characters like Bumper, Tipped Up, and Conker get their own little stat boxes showing their speed, acceleration, and handling. The page rounds off with quotes from different reviewers, all pretty much in agreement that DKR is a phenomenal game that puts Mario Kart 64 to shame. The score breakdown gives top marks across the board, culminating in that impressive 96%. It's clear the magazine is absolutely buzzing about this one. This page dives into a review of Chameleon Twist. The reviewer seems to have gone on a bit of a journey with this one, starting off a tad grumpy then warming up to it, before ending up slightly disappointed. Confused? Yeah, me too, reading it. Sir, apparently the core gimmick is using your chameleon's tongue, not just for munching baddies like you might expect, but also for movement and traversal. The review mentions it's a novel slant on the old platformer formula, departing from just bouncing on heads. Screenshots show off the colorful, if maybe a little simple, 3D worlds, from mines to hot lava levels, and even a boss fight against a cheeky monkey. There's a helpful diagram showing how the N64 controller handles all the tongue-based antics, movement, and camera controls. It also highlights a battle mode for up to 4 players, which sounds like a laugh, involving either a free-for-all or a time trial showdown. There are also shots of bosses, including a rather tasty-looking cake, and different environments you'll explore using that sticky appendage. Overall, it seems like a game trying something a bit different with platforming mechanics. This page wraps up the review of Chameleon Twist. It seems the main reviewer, Noeli, felt the game was a bit of a fleeting affair, finding it too short despite being completely hooked while it lasted. Other opinions are included, with fellow reviewers and a reader chiming in, mostly praising the unique tongue mechanic and the fun multiplayer battle mode, comparing it favorably in some ways to other platformers like Mario or even Mischief Makers. It gets a final score of 81%, with scores broken down for graphics, sound, gameplay and lastability. Then, dominating the rest of the page is a spread dedicated to Top Gear Rally. Presented with a dynamic shot of a car kicking up dust, it's clearly positioning itself as a serious racer. It highlights multiple tracks, different racing modes, variable weather effects, proper stuff. You can even tweak your cars, which is a nice touch for the gearheads. It proudly boasts a 90% score from 64 magazine, calling it the best racing simulation for the N64. Seems like they were pretty confident in this one. The next page kicks off the review for Madden 64. Finally, American football arrives on the N64 in the shape of the legendary Madden series, apparently with more sackings than a Liverpool shipyard. The reviewer, clearly a longtime fan, notes how he has struggled after the Mega Drive days but seems generally pleased with this Narration 64 effort, even if the crowd and commentary are a bit generic. The game boasts impressive graphics, fantastic replay options with loads of camera angles including an intriguing helmet cam, and great animation detail right down to player names on shirts. The bone-crunching tackles and detailed controls for moves like spins and dives are highlighted. It sounds like a visually rich and feature-packed outing for Gridiron fans, earning a B here. This page carries on with the Madden 64 review, diving deeper into the gameplay. They rave about the liquid artificial intelligence, saying the computer defense actually reacts realistically, which is a proper step up. The passing system sounds decent too, letting you pick your receiver with button symbols, a bit like the old Mega Drive games, but hopefully less rubbish. Player behavior is highlighted as faithful, with linebackers and receivers doing their thing properly on the field. You can apparently tweak loads of stuff, from the game environment and weather, to how harsh the penalties are, which is a nice touch for customization freaks. The reviewer reckons this is the best version of Madden on any system at the time, even better than Acclaim's Cube Club. High praise indeed. The screenshots show off the different camera angles and action shots, like tackles, catches, and those over-the-top scoring celebrations. Ultimately it scores big with 90%, getting top marks for graphics, gameplay and lastability, with sound lagging a bit behind. The comment section features varied opinions, including one poor soul who just finds American football boring. Can't please everyone, eh? This page features a review of the N64 game Mischief Makers, a 2D platformer that the reviewer is absolutely raving about, despite its deliberately old-school perspective. They argue that while the graphics and sound might be a bit ropey, even appalling apparently, the sheer quality and innovation in the gameplay more than make up for it. The review highlights the incredibly clever level design, with stages constantly introducing new mechanics and ideas, from shaking enemies for items to riding just about anything you can get your hands on. There are different types of levels too, some being races and others more puzzle-focused, keeping things fresh. The bosses are also praised as ingenious. Screenshots show off the main character, Marina, tackling various bizarre enemies and environments, including an Olympics section which sounds like a hoot. Although they say it's maybe a touch too easy and quick to finish, the overwhelming message is that this game is a brilliant reminder that flashy graphics don't automatically make a game good. It scores a very respectable 87%, with gameplay and lastability getting top marks, while graphics and sound are rated poorly. The comments section backs this up, with others praising the gameplay over the 2D visuals. This page is all about San Francisco Rush, GT Interactive's big racing push onto the N64. The headline practically shouts how exciting it is, even referencing classic movie chases, which immediately sets the tone. Few are buzzing about that Ford ad with Steve McQueen. They reckon this is the game to get you hot under the collar. It's clearly GT, trying to show they can do more than just shoot 'em ups. The main draw here sounds like the brilliant recreation of San Francisco. The review highlights those incredibly steep roads, and the sheer chows of bombing through the city streets, promising a driving experience where you'll be skidding and even flying through the air. There's a good spread of cars on offer, tied to different skill levels, from a sensible BMW for beginners right up to a monstrous Bugatti for the experts, with some interesting choices like a VW campervan and a Pontiac Firebird in the mix. The challenges seem varied too, with mentions of a death mode and racing through fog. The music is called out for having a particularly catchy techno track. Screenshots pepper the page, showing off the racing action, split-screen multiplayer, and even a breakdown of the N64 controller. The overall vibe is that this is a chow-tech, fun, arcade-style racer that nails the feel of its iconic setting. This page gives us the full lowdown on San Francisco Rush. Kicking things off is the N64 score, and crikey, an 88% is a proper strong score. It's put in the same league as Top Gear Rally and MRC, though Extreme G and Mario Kart 64 still hold the crown for their modes. The reviewer loves that it's all about skill, saying the more you mess with the city, the better you go. Driving a camper van through San Francisco beats some sci-fi racer any day apparently. The review proper talks about the city itself, praising the hidden shortcuts that let you blast through glass-fronted shops or fly over rooftops. The two-player mode is solid too. There are screenshots scattered about showing the racing chows, a circuit code to try, and even a look at some of the tracks available. Underneath you get the team's quick thoughts. Mark thinks it's the best racer on 64, bar none. Steve finds it a bit frustrating compared to MRC and Extreme G. And then there's Noelle, who just hates it, calling it unrealistic and a waste of cash. Bit harsh, mate. A reader review wraps it up, saying it beat driving his company car around Lincoln, which is high praise indeed. Looks like a cracking arcade blast. This page dives into the gridiron with a full review of NFL Quarterback Club 98. The big question right from the off is which of the two big American football games that landed recently managed to steal the show. The reviewer suggests that Madden 64, which came first, set an incredibly high bar, making Quarterback Club 98 the support act in this particular doubleheader. Think Hanson to Oasis apparently. Despite the stunning graphics, which look phenomenal, and even show off players' frosty breath in the cold, there are some niggles, like the animation occasionally skipping frames. A significant drawback highlighted is the inclusion of money plays, those unstoppable tactics that were thankfully eradicated in Madden. However, despite these points and a potentially stingy computer-run defense, the reviewer surprisingly declares NFL QB Club 98 to be one of their favorite N64 games. While perhaps not reaching the heights of its direct competitor, it's praised for its strong AI, intuitive playcalling system, comprehensive moves, and ease of control, making it a fantastic N64 sports title in its own right. There are plenty of screenshots showing off the action, from coin tosses and replays, to impressive one-handed catches and tackles. It's out now, and supports up to 4 players at £49.99. The next page continues the deep dive into NFL Quarterback Club 98, getting right down to the nitty-gritty after the initial impressions. The reviewer feels caught between the two gridiron giants of the time, Madden 64 and this, suggesting most people will just go for the flashier graphics of the competitor. However, while it might not be quite as slick as Madden, Quarterback Club 98 is still heralded as a phenomenal American football game in its own right. It gets a slight edge graphically, with particularly impressive visuals when the action is in motion, but it's a close contest overall. The game boasts a deep scenario mode, allowing you to rewrite history, which sounds like a cracking idea. The controls are laid out clearly with a diagram showing what every button does, covering everything from snap and pass to catches and tackles. Despite initial difficulty scoring, the game is praised for its long-term appeal and hidden secrets. A few other opinions are shared, revealing a split decision between QB Club and Madden, with some finding the latter superior, while others prefer the look and feel of this one. Ultimately, despite the tough competition, NFL Quarterback Club 98 earns a very respectable 86%. A review of Midway's N64 fighting game, Mace: The Dark Age, praises its stunning 3D graphics and expansive, interactive environments. The weapons-based combat, featuring combos and special moves, is also highlighted. While the visuals are a standout, character designs are somewhat less impressive, leaning toward a heavy metal/Dungeons & Dragons aesthetic. Gameplay, though using a similar 3-button control system to Virtua Fighter, sometimes feels cramped. Despite minor animation issues, Mace is considered the best N64 beat-em-up to date, earning a 78% score. However, some critics feel it doesn't quite reach the level of other 32-bit console fighters or Virtua Fighter 2. This page is all about the daddy of first-person shooters on the N64, Doom 64. It talks about the blood, the corpses, and how it was regarded as one of the finest games ever back in the day, though maybe not quite aged like a fine wine. More like Keith Richards, eh? The review dives into the history of Doom, how it blew everyone's minds on the PC, causing chows and creating the whole Doom clone genre. It highlights the graphical upgrade for the N64, saying the levels and monsters look much better than ever before, though the animation can be a bit lacking sometimes. The original weapons are back, plus some new ones, which sounds promising. However, the big kicker here, and where the reviewer really gets stuck in, is the lack of multiplayer. Given the history of Doom on PC being legendary for its deathmatch, the fact that the N64 version, on a machine with 4 joystick ports no less, doesn't have it, is frankly baffling, and costs it a fair chunk of marks. The reviewer mentions they'd rather wait for Duke Nukem, which says a lot. Despite that massive omission, the single player is still solid, hence the 71% score. There are also short opinions from other folk, some loving it, some not so much because of that missing multiplayer. It's a shame really, as a good Doom deathmatch on the N64 would have been immense. This page moves on to another first-person shooter, Hexen, and it's immediately clear the tone is a bit more positive, especially compared to the Doom 64 review. They call it a Doom clone right away, but seem quite fond of them. It highlights the multiple character classes you can choose from: fighter, cleric, mage, which adds a nice bit of variety that Doom never had. The big win here, and something they hammered Doom 64 for lacking, is the multiplayer. Hexen supports 14 players with split screen, including co-op modes, which they reckon is cracking, and even better than GoldenEye for deathmatches. The screenshots show the chowketic fun of having multiple players on screen at once. While the graphics get a mention for being a bit uninspired compared to other N64 games, they say it's still better than the old PC version and maintains a surprisingly good frame rate even with more players. Gameplay-wise, it's more puzzle-focused than Doom's pure run-and-gun, which might not appeal to everyone looking for non-stop action. Overall, the sentiment seems to be that while the single player is debatable, the excellent multiplayer saves it, making it one of the most rewarding games on the N64 for playing with mates. The scores reflect this, landing at a respectable 66%, with different folks weighing in below, some preferring it to Doom 64, others not so much. But hey, 4-player split screen? That's proper N64. Goodness. This page dives headfirst into Duke Nukem 64, asking the big question: can the king of shoot-em-ups conquer the N64 after reigning supreme on PC? The reviewer gives a little history lesson, fondly recalling how Duke came after Doom and kicked it up a notch with better visuals, levels, and a healthy dose of blood and gore. Stuff that made the moralists squirm but was brilliant fun for the rest of us. The plot? Aliens have kidnapped the Earth babies, and Duke's the only man for the job. It's your classic first-person blaster, running around, finding weapons and shooting everything that moves, with a few simple puzzles thrown in so it's not just non-stop action. Graphics get a big tick, looking sharper than previous versions with detailed locations, and some seriously impressive explosions. They even mention the interactivity, like shooting pool balls. The game leans heavily into its humor, highlighted by the classic one-liners, and despite Nintendo's quality control, it sounds like it keeps the spirit and bloody fun of the original. Multiplayer deathmatch gets a nod too, shown in glorious 4-player split-screen action. Overall, the feeling is that while Bond might be the king now, Duke's arrival on the N64 is a welcome, action-packed, and hilarious event. The next page continues the Duke Nukem 64 review, showing off Duke's impressive arsenal, from the trusty shotgun and rocket launcher to the plasma cannon and shrinker/expander. There are plenty of action-packed screenshots too, highlighting detailed levels, alien encounters, and yes, even the blood-stained walls and corpses that let you know Duke's been around. The text confirms some content changes from the PC version. Apparently those dancing girls in the strip club didn't make the cut, a travesty I know, but assures us that the core violent fun, the explosions, the detail, and those signature Duke one-liners are still very much present and correct. Multiplayer is praised as the frantic blast it should be, though the big elephant in the room, GoldenEye, is unavoidable. The review openly states that Bond's arrival puts Duke in a tough spot, but it's still considered a good shoot-'em-up with lots to offer. The final verdict lands on an impressive 86% overall, with decent scores for graphics, gameplay, sound, and lastability. You also get quick thoughts from other reviewers and readers, many of whom can't help but compare it to GoldenEye. One chap, Steve, even hilariously calls it little more than Doom with knobs on, while still rating it highly. The page also shows a handy guide to the N64 controller layout for the game. This page delves into Top Gear Rally for the N64, a game that initially landed with a bit of a thud, according to the reviewer, Noah Lee. Coming from the US Import review where he described it as low-gear Sunday driving, he acknowledges that the PAL version, while still stuttering off the line like a particularly bad Robin Reliant, actually gets better the more you play it. The initial sluggishness and rather drab scenery don't do it any favors, especially compared to slicker races like Wave Race or MRC. However, if you stick with it, the cars get faster, the controls, once you adjust to the sensitive steering, become manageable, and there's a surprising amount of depth to be found. The single-player championship mode is where the real fun is, offering qualification and car upgrades. Screenshots show off gameplay, some unfortunate glitches, intro scenes, and the slightly disappointing two-player mode with its tiny windows. Overall, despite the rough start and some mixed opinions from other reviewers and readers, ranging from slow and bare to gets faster as you earn better cars, the game manages a respectable 87%. It's not quite the Christmas cracker, but if you persevere, it's a solid, rewarding racer. The UK's best Mario Kart 64 player was crowned at the Dr. Pepper Nintendo 64 Challenge. 10 hopefuls, aged 12 to 18, competed at a London sports cafe, with DJ Lee hosting. Greg Newton beat Chung Wong in the final, winning a TV, N64 console and game, and a year's supply of Dr. Pepper. A Guinness World Record attempt for a Mario Raceway lap failed due to stringent rules. The event featured fast-paced races, memorable moments, and lots of Dr. Pepper. Photos and screenshots capture the excitement. This page dives into a truly important question. Who is the hardest character on the N64? N64 Pro is settling it with a brutal, no-holds-barred tournament featuring 16 hopefuls pulled from games like Doom, NBA Hangtime, Mario Kart 64. Fresh off that big tournament, eh? Mace, ISS 64, Diddy Kong Racing, Bomberman, Hexen WCW vs NWO, Wayne Gretzky, Fighter's Destiny, and Pilot Wings. Commentating from some decidedly unglamorous locations, we witnessed the carnage of Round 1. There are some cracking matchups, like the Chicago ice hockey team trying to flatten the Bull Demon, De Silva booting Etin, Dennis Rodman doing his thing against a rather unfortunate wrestler, USHI the Cow getting the better of Warhead, and of course Mario and Wario finally duking it out after all these years. Goose and Mechahawk have a rather nasty aerial scrap, Spanky gets a gruesome introduction to the Executioner, and Diddy Kong faces off with Blue Bomberman. It's all as violent and slightly silly as you'd expect. 8 fighters are left standing after a proper pasting. Time to clean up the ring before round 2 kicks off. The Last Man Stands tournament continues, with Goose emerging victorious after defeating Mario, Diddy Kong, and the Chicago ice hockey team. Goose's impressive feats include a defenestration and air-to-air missile. He faces the Chicago ice hockey team in the final, overpowering them with a vicious backbreaker to claim the title. Meanwhile, a release application for Marina Lightyears, a character from Mischief Makers, details her quirky personality and features, with an expected December 19, 1997 release date. The game is praised for its frantically silly and bonkers features. The next page dives straight into the beautiful game with Goal of the Month, 6 of the best action replay from ISS64. Alex Lee takes us through some absolute crackers scored over the past month in what they call their favorite game of the moment. They've picked out half a dozen stunners, showing the build-up and finish step-by-step using screenshots, which is rather nifty, I must say. We've got everything from a clever short reverse-through ball, to a classic cross bullet header, a cheeky ye old 1-2, and even a far-post first-time volley. Proper footballing action that. There's also a little section on favourite ways of scoring, from some of the lads like Steve, Alex, Mark and Noeli, giving away their preferred methods. Sounds like some slightly dubious yet effective tactics are involved, especially Mark somehow muddle through into a shooting position, then fire tamely into the keeper's midriff. Sounds about right for some players, doesn't it? Hein. Finally, they're asking you, the reader, to vote for your favourite goal from the selection, for a chance to bag an N64 game of your choice. A decent proposition if you ask me. This page gets right into the thick of it with the GoldenEye 007 Expert's Guide Part 2. Blimey GoldenEye, what a classic. This spread covers 2 levels from the St. Petersburg section, the Statue Park and the Military Archives. It's packed with useful stuff, showing you maps of the levels with numbered points, guiding you through the objectives. For Statue Park, you're tracking down Valentin and Giannis, finding a helicopter, rescuing Natalia, again, and locating the flight recorder. The guide gives you a step-by-step walkthrough, even telling you where Valentin is hiding in that distinctive red container. Then, onto the Military Archives, where you need to escape interrogation, find Natalia, seriously where does she keep going, recover the helicopter black box, and finally escape with her. The guide provides another map and numbered instructions, including a neat trick about slapping guards instead of shooting them initially to avoid attracting a crowd. It even shows you where to find the secret passages and the safe containing the black box, which you'll need the key for, naturally. Essential stuff if you want to breeze through these missions without getting your face shot off. And there's a cracking picture of Brosnan looking sharp, ready for action. Good old GoldenEye still holds up, doesn't it? This GoldenEye 007 guide continues with expert walkthroughs for the St. Petersburg levels. Stage 3, Streets, details how to contact Valentin, chase Aurumov and Natalia, and avoid civilian casualties. The guide provides starting points, building locations, and minefield avoidance. Stage 4, Depot, focuses on destroying arms caches, hacking networks, obtaining helicopter blueprints, and locating Trevelyan's train. Clear instructions cover warehouse locations, computer access, and crucial steps like securing doors. Detailed maps accompany both sections. The next page continues that absolutely essential GoldenEye 007 Expert's Guide, naturally. We've moved on from the streets and depot to tackling Mission 6, Stage 5, the train. The objectives here are crucial. Destroy those pesky brake units, can't leave any behind mind you, rescue Natalia, find the Giannis base details, crack Boris's password, and finally, escape. The walkthrough takes you carriage by carriage, detailing where to find cover, eliminate guards, and crucially, where those brake units are hidden. It even tells you how to handle the final confrontation with Aurumov and Xenia, and get Natalia to do her computer magic before making a sharp exit through the trap door. Then, we're off to the steaming jungles of Cuba for Mission 7, Stage 1. Here, the mission shifts to destroying drone guns, eliminating Xenia again, she just doesn't learn, does she? Blowing up an ammo dump, and getting Natalia safely to the Giannis base. The guide explains how to use the environment for cover, snipe those annoying turrets, and gives you a very specific strategy for dealing with Xenia and the gun turrets at the bridge using mines, a classic move. It then covers the path through the caves, finding that ammo stash, and clearing the way to the exit. Proper walkthroughs these are, telling you exactly what you need to do to get through these levels, without too much fuss. The next page dives straight back into that cracking GoldenEye 007 Expert's Guide, naturally. We're still slogging through Cuba, moving on to Mission 7, Stage 2, the Control Center. This time, the primary objectives are all about protecting poor Natalia, disabling the GoldenEye satellite, no small feat that, and blowing up those armored mainframes. The guide gives you a solid step-by-step, covering how to handle the ever-present turrets, deal with guards right from the off, and crucially, how to get Natalia to help you progress. There's even a section on planting mines on the mainframes, and protecting Natalia while she does her tech magic, leading up to the confrontation with Trevelyan. Then, it's on to Mission 7, Stage 3, The water caverns. The aims here shift to wrecking the inlet and outlet pump controls, contacting Jack Wade, remember him? Smashing the master control console, and trying not to shoot too many scientists, though the guide does suggest scaring them off first. The walkthrough covers the best ways to navigate the caverns, deal with guards and scientists, find hidden ammo, use mines strategically, locate those all-important keycards, and finally, confront Giannis before making your escape via the elevator. Proper detailed stuff, making these tricky levels much more manageable. This GoldenEye 007 guide details Mission 7, Stage 4, The Cradle. It provides a step-by-step walkthrough, focusing on disabling the control console and confronting Trevelyan. Tactics include luring guards, taking out turrets, and a detailed strategy for defeating Trevelyan. The guide also emphasizes general gameplay tips like using stealth, cover, and inventory management, along with avoiding loud weapons and dealing with cameras/alarms. Finally, it lists level cheats for different difficulties, and showcases Pierce Brosnan's character. This page is pure gold for anyone who fancies a bit of a shortcut. It's the magazine's cheat zone, laying out a load of cracking tips and tricks for a bunch of top N64 games. You've got Diddy Kong Racing with magic codes that let you mess about with balloons and weapons, and San Francisco Rush showing you how to find secret keys to unlock hidden cars and even flip the tracks upside down. Handy for when the standard races just aren't daft enough. There are cheats for Clay Fighter 63 and a third, letting you access secret menus and play as weird characters like Boogerman or Dr. Kiln. Top Gear Rally has some brilliantly balmy bonus vehicles like a milk truck or an ice cube on wheels, apparently fueled by the developers having a bit too much fun. And for Madden 64 players, there's a tip to see the ending sequence without doing all the hard work, and even a hidden team to find. It's packed with ways to bypass the rules, because honestly, who's got time for fair play? The page is dotted with screenshots from the games themselves, showing Donkey Kong's little mate Diddy, some bizarre Clay Fighter characters, a rather green car from San Francisco Rush, and even a peek at GoldenEye 007 and Madden 64. Proper cheating, good fun. This page focuses on cheating in GoldenEye 007 for the N64, detailing specific level unlocking methods, often requiring specific difficulties and time constraints. It also encourages readers to share their own cheat codes and strategies, offering a contact method. A picture of Bond and Trevelyan serves as a visual reminder of the game's spy theme. The page also prominently advertises N64 consoles, games, including Mario Kart and Turok, and accessories like memory cards and rumble packs, even including Virtual Boy titles. Ultimately, the page caters to both those seeking shortcuts and those looking to expand their N64 gaming library. A preview of Automobili Lamborghini for the Nintendo 64 hints at a racing game with potential. While the multiplayer is confirmed for up to 4 players and supports the 64DD, development has had its bumps. Initial impressions are positive, with steady frame rates, improved graphics, textures, skid marks, smoke, and features like tire burning and damage modeling. 8 cars are available at launch, but 24 are promised later. Arcade, Tournament, Championship, and Time Trial modes are confirmed, alongside a secret mode. Though the sense of speed might need work, the game appears visually appealing with a strong Italian theme. A November 22nd release is planned. This page dives headfirst into the booming trend of snowboarding games, questioning just how rad the sport actually is. It previews a couple of key upcoming titles for the N64, showing how different developers are tackling the slopes. First up, there's Twisted Edge Snowboarding, which seems to be aiming for a more serious, hardcore vibe. Developed by Boss Game Studios and published by Midway and Kemco, the screenshots suggest a fully 3D experience trying to compete with the PlayStation's cool borders. It's described as looking grittier, and potentially Boss's big console competitor. Then you've got Snowbow Kids from Atlas, again with Kemco and Midway involved, which takes a completely different, light-hearted approach. With its manga-style art and cute cartoon characters like Nieno, Tokarev and Ryo, this looks much more like a fun, Mario Kart-style racer on snow. The page shows off character designs and colorful screenshots that back this up. GoldenEye. The article notes that other developers like Imagineer are also getting in on the act, with games like Vertical Edge Snowboarding and Snowspeeder 64. It's clear the N64 was set to offer a bit of everything for virtual borders, whether you wanted a more realistic race or a silly character romp down the mountain. Even the snowboarding event at the Nagano Olympics gets a shout out for being rad. Looks like plenty of shredding was on the horizon. Weetrix, a 3D water-based Tetris game, is in development by Z2 in Manchester. Players guide falling blocks to create landscapes, collecting water and evaporating it with special blocks. Too much water spills off the edge, leading to a game over. Scoring is influenced by pinball, rewarding structures like dams and lakes, which can produce rainbows and ducks for high scores. The game, appearing 80% complete with a February 13, 1998 release date, features colorful visuals, cute characters, and a two-player mode with weapons. The game's success is said to have secured IZ2's official Nintendo license. This page dives into Virtual Hiryu no Ken. Culture Brains leap into 3D fighting on the N64, following their history with games like Kung Fu Heroes and Little Ninja Brothers. While the name might be a bit of a mouthful, the game looks promising, running at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second with some impressive lighting and texture effects. It's aiming for that Tekken and Virtua Fighter quality, steering clear of that slightly ropey 2D to 3D look some early N64 fighters had. They're boasting about detailed character models and fluid animation, which is always a good sign for a beat-em-up. You've got a mix of characters, including familiar faces like Ryuhi, who they reckon is their answer to Street Fighter's Ryu, and Min-Min, who's apparently more of a Chun-Li type. The game promises a couple of different modes, including a slightly bonkers super deformed one alongside the standard fighting. It sounds like it'll have item collection and controller pack support too, which is handy. It's looking about 70% done and set for a Japanese spring release, so us Brits will likely need to look into importing it if we want to get our hands on it. Seems like Culture Brain is putting in the work to make a proper go of the 3D fighting scene. This page is a look back at what the readers of N64 Pro magazine thought right at the beginning, featuring the results of their first ever survey. It's got a bit of a laugh with images suggesting readers are so keen they'd skydive to the shops. Third favorite transport apparently, skydive, and that an anorak is definitely not standard reader gear. Diving into the stats, readers were clearly big fans of the magazine's news and pro tips sections. When it comes to games, GoldenEye absolutely stormed it, coming out on top of the popularity contest, with Zelda and Extreme G also ranking highly. Beyond the N64 chat, the survey pokes fun at popular culture, asking about the most hyped pop group. No surprise, it was the Spice Girls by a landslide, and even the sexiest newsreader, featuring Kirsty Young, who seemed to win over the readers. And quite rightly, Alan Partridge is the clear winner for favourite chat show host. It paints a rather amusing picture of the N64 Pro reader back in the day. Konami's upcoming N64 RPG, Holy Magic Century, developed by Imagineer, is slated for a spring release. The game, a quest to find 3 mystical swords and defeat the evil lava, features a charming, slightly twisted visual style, described as resembling a twisted nursery rhyme. Players will collect artifacts to gain magical abilities. While the game world utilizes true 3D rooms, some areas use fixed camera angles to conserve cartridge space. Holy Magic Century is aiming to compete with titles like Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Konami is confident it's 70% complete and ready to succeed. This page is all about getting the magazine delivered straight to your door, offering 13 issues for a tidy £20, saving you a bit of cash compared to buying them one by one. It's got a rather snazzy background, with some seriously slick-looking cars, typical 90s flair really, trying to get you hooked on subscribing to satisfy your N64 cravings. A review of 4 N64 steering wheels highlights the Top Gear wheel by Logic 3 as the best. The reviewer, Noah Lee, tests the Performer Turbo wheel, 3/5, Gamester's LX4, 3/5, and Fire Int's VRF1 accelerator, 4/5. The Top Gear wheel, with its gear stick, configurable buttons, and rumble pack compatibility, earns a perfect 5/5 and is praised for its value. The review also touches on the abundance of N64 driving game peripherals. DACers. This month's feedback section of the magazine features reader opinions on the N64. Philip Kelly compares N64 game availability to PlayStation, while Philip Creed provides tips for ISS 64 and Mario Kart 64. Daniel Faltor criticizes Key Gold's review score. Robert Johnson suggests classifieds, and Tim Johnson praises the magazine's look but criticizes Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire's score. The staff responds to the letters, addressing review scores and future plans like Q&A sessions. The letters cover game tips, reviews, and the N64 library. This page jumps right back into the feedback from the readers. Someone here felt stupidly shafted by Lilat Wars, that Star Fox 64 to you, after waiting for a price drop, calling it crap. Oof. We also have questions about tips for Mario Kart and Super Mario 64, and whether you actually needed 2 memory cards for 2-player action, a classic question from back in the day. The debate continues on GoldenEye too, specifically whether 18 levels is enough. The staff chime in, confirming the level count across difficulty settings. There's even a little promotional image for a guide featuring GoldenEye, FIFA, and Bomberman. And look, a nice shot of Fox McCloud to brighten the page. Taking up a fair bit of real estate are the adverts. There's one for new generation consoles selling games and conversion services for N64, Saturn, and PlayStation. Another big one is Wild Imports, also pushing console conversions and import titles like Duke Nukem 3D and Diddy Kong Racing. And finally, that slightly odd ad for a games addiction treatment center. That also happens to buy and sell games. Seems a bit contradictory, eh? This N64 gaming guide, from a magazine, reviews numerous cartridges. Highlights include the acclaimed Blast Corps, Extreme G, and GoldenEye 007, which earns a stamp of approval. Other games, like Cruisin' USA and FIFA 64, receive less enthusiastic reviews. The guide also covers Japanese imports, noting language barriers, and discusses the aged but still decent Doom 64. GoldenEye 007 is singled out as a must-have, while Lylat Wars, Star Fox 64, and ISS 64 are also praised. The page features various game screenshots, including a gratuitous babe shot. Sinnorcus. This page profiles various Nintendo 64 games. Mortal Kombat Trilogy is highlighted, while Midway's War Gods 3D attempt is less favorably reviewed. Racing games like Wave Race 64 and Top Gear Rally are praised, especially for visuals. Sports games like NBA Hang Time and Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey are mentioned. Platformers like Turok and Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire are discussed. Super Mario 64 is lauded as a classic. Pilotwings 64 and Tetrisphere are also mentioned. Mario Kart 64, despite some criticisms, is called a great multiplayer game. A list of top-rated games, including GoldenEye 007, Super Mario 64, and ISS 64, showcases the N64 strong lineup. This page gives us a heads-up about what's coming in the next issue of N64 Pro. Apparently, the February '98 edition is going to be a fun-filled, totally insane beast packed with all the usual good stuff like news, reviews and previews, plus a heap of hints, tips, cheats and guides. It's so epic they say it's impossible to describe and you just have to buy it. Diddy Kong himself pops up in a speech bubble, confirming he'll be the star of the guide in the next issue, covering all the tracks, tactics and tips for his game. Sounds promising. Then, the other half of the page is a cracking advert for Automobili Lamborghini on 64. The image shows a sleek car at 176 miles per hour. Under the headline, "No police, no camera, just action." Looks like Pure Speed is the name of the game here. The ad highlights it's a 4-player racer, with 8 supercars, 7 tracks and 5 modes. They reckon it's the next best thing to having one parked in your drive, which is a bold claim, but hey, it is a Lamborghini on the fastest console on Earth at the time. Definitely looks like it fits right in with the N64's strong racing lineup we were just looking at.